Hey, can you hear me okay?
Hey, yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect. Um, do you have like an IRL name you want me to refer to you by or just Ice Cowboy?
You can call me Michelle, is my real name.
Michelle. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish setting up, getting ready for 4 minutes, and then right at like 10:45, I'll do like a little intro and we'll kick it off.
Perfect. And what should I refer to you as? Do you
Either Ian, my name's Ian Lepkowski, or Kowski. It doesn't
Ian?
matter.
Ian. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
And Michelle, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll be on in like
All
four
right,
minutes.
sounds good.
Yo, what up, Thomas? Thanks for joining. Just a heads up, we're gonna start in 2 minutes, 10:45, and get the episode going. Welcome to the Talking About Life podcast. I am your host, Kowski, or Ian Lepkowski. Uh, I am incredibly grateful to have another guest on the show today. We always express gratitude and appreciation for our guests, to God and to the universe for bringing these guests to us and for them sharing their lessons and their voice and their time with us. Today's guest is Ice Cowboy NYC. Their Twitter handle is at ArfUnnySeal, and that's ArfUnnySeal. Her Twitter bio reads NYC Woman in Web 3. And we're going to call her Michelle today. That's her in real life name, so to speak. So, Michelle, how are you doing today and how are you doing in general?
Hi, Ian. Thank you so much. That was a great intro. I'm doing good. I'm here in New York City and it's a bit gloomy. We're supposed to get some snow today, some rain, so not much is going on here. How are you?
I'm actually not too far from you. I live in Island Park on Long
Oh,
Island.
nice. So you have the same beautiful weather as me.
The same gloom and doom forecast, so they
Yes, I
say.
have to leave the house one time today, so at least
I don't know if I'll do that. No
well, you
promises.
just had a baby.
I That's true. Yeah, I've been home, most of the time taking care of our baby. So, yeah, there's not a lot of foraging into the world when you have a baby. The first, I don't know if you have any kids, but the beginning of it, they're not supposed to like see or interact with anyone, so they don't, get sick or whatever. So you're like quarantined
I've heard
almost.
that. I do not have any myself, but I will leave that to you.
Well, if you ever do, instant quarantine is it's
Okay,
part of it.
maybe I will then,
Yeah,
actually.
I didn't realize. I don't think
This actually could be a plus.
beforehand. Part of me pictured like all these people being here and meeting our baby, and the doctors was like, no, no, not for like a couple months. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
I have
shit.
a really good friend. What my best friend is due next month, and she's like, "Yeah, you guys can't come see the baby for like months." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I
I
assumed
didn't
I'd
know
be
either
there
on
giving
that
a
trip.
helping hand in the delivery.
Yeah. Well, that I know they don't let too many people in the room, but yeah, I mean after, yeah, I would have
Yeah,
thought.
right after.
So, Michelle, what is going on here with you? So, we always say the topic of the show is talking about passions. You messaged me a couple things. Do you want to start with one of those things? Do you want to like, I don't know, give like a little like rundown on yourself? How would you like to kick it off for you?
I mean, I can talk about passions. I definitely a huge part of my presence, small maybe, but is drawing the animations and memes and doing that. And I've really come to love that. I only started teaching myself how to animate on Procreate like less than a year ago, I'd say. And I've been doing that daily, and I feel like it's such a great combination of things that I've always wanted to do. People have always been like, "You're so funny, you should do stand up." And I was always like, "Hell no." But Twitter kind of allows you to like be a bit funny or try to be a bit funny while still having like this mask of a seal over me, which makes it a bit more comfortable, which is something interesting that I've noticed.
Yeah, stand up. I'm a funny guy, or I think I am, or other people have expressed that to me, and I've gotten, occasionally throughout life the same feedback. Oh, you should go do
Right.
stand up. I'm like situationally funny.
Exactly.
Like I'm like funny when it like hits at the right moment, right place, right time, kind of
Right.
thing. I don't know if I'm a routine kind of guy. Like that's how I feel like when people say that. So, but to your point, I do like posting memes from time to time because it's the same thing. It's right place, right time. You're not Everyone's not looking at you and like, if a joke doesn't hit, it's just dead silent and 30 fucking
Right.
50, 100, whatever the size of the event, you just eyes blaring through you like, you post a meme, it's dead. You just don't get comments. You don't get 100 people showing up not commenting. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a little
I've made
different.
memes or animations that I'm like, this is hilarious, and post them, and quite literally, maybe one person likes them. And I'm just like, well, thank God my face is hidden and I'm a blue seal on here, and I'm not on a stage in front of, 100 people.
Yeah, it's not bad to have a little bit of a shield sometimes from the scarier things or the things that are a little outside of your comfort zone.
Definitely.
Now, I want to just echo here that making memes may sound like some people are like, oh, it's a waste of time, this and that. I don't think so. I love fucking memes. Memes have made me really happy. Sometimes I'm having a bad day and there's no one around to call or whatever it is, or I don't feel like calling someone, and it's a meme. It's a meme that fucking turns my spirit around
Exactly.
and puts me in a good mood, or I share it with a friend that I haven't seen, or it makes me think of someone, and then we're having a beautiful conversation. So the podcast is about passion, but also big undertones of positivity and helping the world and people, that type of thing. I'm all about that. So not necessary, but you are doing that. So I just want to echo that you are doing your part to bring a little bit of joy, bring a little kindness to the world, and make positivity louder. And I just want to say I love
Thank you.
that.
I really enjoy it. And, to your point about, like spreading the word in these memes, it's really interesting when you start looking into it in terms of marketing, right? Like, I make a lot of memes for Sappy Seals, and it's like it's free marketing for them, and in some ways, if everyone is doing it, if everyone's making memes, there are funny ways to advertise these seals, instead of seeing like a commercial come up. They're funny little reminders of this world, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you get involved with the community. Some people just kind of observe, but like you said, you're doing free marketing for them. Maybe at some point they'll notice and want to pay you for it, maybe
Oh,
not.
that would be
Either
great.
way, you're putting yourself out there. Yeah, I mean that would be the dream. But either way, you've made it possible, right? Some people don't even act. So whether it happens or not, that door is now open of possibility for it to potentially
Right.
happen.
And I'm sure
Um,
you see it
Go ahead.
with your Twitter as well. It's like, the more you put yourself out there, the more people meet you and follow you and start engaging with you, and it's just like this interesting world that's opened up. And it's really, once you dive into it and get deep into it, it's there's so many possibilities of ways you can, grow and learn on there, and it's really amazing. I love Twitter.
I do as well. I wasn't on Twitter for a while until I went to NFT NYC over the summer, and then I got big into NFTs and Gary V and V Friends and all these things. And now I'm like living on Twitter. I used to be like a Facebook, Instagram guy. Those were my social. I'm a Twitter guy. That's
Oh
it.
my
Like
God,
I mean, I'm
same.
still on everything, but my main, like the one that I'm spending the most hours on now is
Same.
Twitter.
First thing I do when I wake up is check my Twitter. I mean, I'm fully addicted to it. I've not really gone on Instagram in a while. I mean, I check it every once in a while to see what people are up to, but fully on Twitter. And same with me. I was never on Twitter until I joined the NFT community, and now I'm fully obsessed. Can't get enough of it.
Now, going off of talking about Twitter memes, I feel like this is a good segue into the one of the topics you messaged me that you had a little bit of a run-in with shit coins slash meme
Oh,
coins, where you had a kind of come up, come down roller coaster. Told me that might be an interesting story for you to tell, and I agree. Do you want to go
of
into that?
course. So my first step into crypto was XRP. My brother a few years ago was like, "You need to buy XRP." So I downloaded Coinbase, got XRP.
Wait, and that's Ripple, right?
Oh, Ripple,
XRP
yes,
is Ripple.
correct.
Okay.
So which I still believe in today. They still have the lawsuit going on, but I bought a few of those, and then like immediately after the lawsuit happened and everything tanked and my money was locked in there, and I was like, oh, all right, great. But that didn't deter me. A friend of mine was getting into Shiba, and he was making like, he's like, I put 6,000 in, and he was sending me screenshots of a million or like close to a million. At some point, I guess it was lower when I got in. But so I put some money into that, and then I don't know if you heard of Emacs. It's like
That one I have not, but you could tell me
it's
about it.
horrendous. A bunch of celebrities like Kim Kardashian ended up getting sued for like promoting it. I guess they got paid to promote it.
I ended up hearing about the lawsuit with Kim Kardashian, so I guess I vaguely know about it, but I didn't know about the coin first. I heard about it backwards from the
Yes, so
lawsuit.
that's the coin. So I had gotten in and I had made a lot of money in it, and then Kim Kardashian starts promoting it, and I'm telling my friends like, guys, like this is crazy. You got to get in this. And I have screenshots on my phone of I between my Shiba and my Emacs, I was up to about 200,000, I think. I have to look back at like the exact number. Off of I want to say like 8,000 or 6,000, something ridiculous. Like
That is amazing, but I know where the story's going, so I know it's not. But keep
right. So
going.
I've never seen that much money all at once in my life. Like never, never. And for some reason, and again, I was very new to it. Everyone's telling me like, hold, hold, hold. My friend who his money got up to 3 million actually, and his story is much sadder than mine because he also held. So yeah, everything started coming down, and everyone in this community I was in, which is it's really important that you're in the right communities in Twitter, which NFTs kind of help to point you in the right communities, like V Friends, Sappy Seals, Pudgy Penguins, right? People are kind of looking out for you. Whereas whoever I was talking to in these groups a few years ago were certainly not looking out for me. So everyone's just like, hold, hold, hold. And in my mind, I remember being like, why am I going to take 200,000 when I can have 200 million? Like, it's psychotic, I know, but that was my thinking. Um, so I kept it in there.
I'll just tell you so like you don't feel any shame or hopefully less. I have fumbled plenty of bags doing the same thing, thinking like, oh, 3,000. Why sell for 3,000? I'm waiting for 50,000 or oh
It's
10,000. Like I'll
crazy.
just sell it when it's.
It's
500,000. Like, yeah, I've been
it's
there.
wild. It's really a study in human behavior at the end of the day. Like we are so greedy. I mean, I certainly am. I didn't know how greedy I was until I did that. But looking back at it now, I can't believe, for me, $200,000 would be life changing money. That would have really, really helped me. Um, but I definitely fumbled it, lost it all. Emacs came crashing down, Shiba came crashing down. I did some trades. I was like chasing other meme coins. And then I don't know if you ever heard of Strong Block.
I have not heard of most of this. I've heard of Shiba, and then after that, I don't
Okay,
know.
well, Strong Block, I don't know if anyone will listening will know what this is, but it was nodes as a service that they introduced, right? So I got into this, and now I have nodes that are producing passive income, and at this point, I'm paying my rent in New York City. We live downtown. Our rent is over 5 grand, and I'm paying that with my passive income from the nodes, and I'm like, I'm done. Like my life is, I'm a gajillionaire. And then Strong came crashing down along with the rest of the market on this last fallout. I have not re upped any of my nodes. I no longer have passive income from them. So that's kind of where I am today. And after all that, I kind of started getting into NFTs. I still remain in a few tokens, but NFTs are addicting.
Yeah, I agree. NFTs are addicting. I'm sorry for your financial kind of come up,
It's
come
okay.
down there. Like I've had similar. I never quite hit 200,000. That's a higher figure, so I feel the pain there.
So painful.
But hopefully, yeah, it's devastating. But hopefully, you could not be
Yeah,
devastated.
I'm fine.
Hopefully,
I
you
mean,
could
it's,
learn from
of
it and
course.
get strong and use that as fortification to either try to do it again and smarter kind of thing, or stay away from it and do things a
Right.
different
I
way.
definitely learned to take profits and that, while it's going up, it's definitely going to come back down and it's amazing because I think I did it again with NFTs. Like I had bought one of the first NFTs I bought was the Crypto Bull Society. I don't know if you heard of them.
Yeah, I heard of those. The crypto bulls, and they had the crypto
Right.
bears
So I
airdrop,
was
I
like,
think.
like loving this. The artist has his art hung in this gallery.
I think Gal
Yeah,
Yosef, if
Gal
I'm
Yosef in Soho. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this guy's not going to fail. Like, let me buy a bunch of these. And I did. And then I was getting offers for 12 grand on like each bull. And I was like, no, no, no. And now what are they worth? Nothing. I don't even know. I've since sold them for pennies. But
Yep.
another one. So
I know the
hopefully
feeling.
my lessons are all learned for the next bull run.
Hopefully so. Now, you kind of mentioned this along the course of what
Sorry,
you
it's
were
just
saying there. This is maybe a selfish question for me, but it also aligns with what you said your passions are. I don't know a lot about these sappy seals. I've seen them everywhere. I don't know. I'll be transparent. I thought they looked dumb or something or like stupid or I don't know. They were cute, but I'm like I don't know if I like these things. But like a lot of people that I know that I like have one now, and everyone likes them, and I feel like oh shit, should I like gotten one of these back or should I try to find out about and now I feel like it's like I missed the bus kind of thing. Do you want to just give me a little rundown? Like why does everybody that I like sappy seals? And like should I be liking them
I
and
think you
why?
should be liking them. I randomly came across them. I don't know why I wanted to start getting them, but once I had one and I was in the community, the followers, like they'll say it, a utility of owning a sappy seal or pudgy penguin or any even a V friend, I guess, is and I owned a couple V friends. But with sappy seals, I had never seen the following in the community show up like that. You post, hey, I just joined this community, and you've got hundreds of people commenting. And in a world where people are in kind of a race to get those followers before they start monetizing Twitter, it is a bit of a utility. You pay to own this NFT that will get you instantly up to 1,000, 2,000 followers, get you kicked off, and then that kind of gives you this mini platform to start if you want to start on Twitter and creating content. It's kind of like a little booster pack, I'd say. So that's kind of initially why I joined, and then being in the community, Wob, the founder, is amazing, and I think he's really smart. I know he's young. I'm 33, so everyone feels young in crypto Twitter. But
Yeah, I'm 31. I never know how old people are.
Never know. I'm
How old is it?
always shocked. So he's really great, and I found out that he studied engineering, and then he also studied. I listened to a bit of an interview he did, and he studied something with, maybe it was viral marketing, but he's really smart on the marketing side, and I think with these NFTs, that's the most important thing, right? Like spreading the word, getting people interested, and then the other thing is, whether they meant to do this or not, I think just some of the funniest and sweetest people that I've met on Twitter do happen to come from that community. I don't know if it's the ethos that's put out there and it brings those kind of people in, but of course there's not great people as well, but the majority are super supportive, super kind. And I think it same with Pudgy Penguins, which I don't own any Pudgy Penguins. I have a few little Pudgies, but that's another community where everyone's just like really nice and sweet and active on Twitter. And for me right now, if a dream would be to be paid for content someday, right? So I have a goal to build a following. And Sappy Seals definitely helps that. And it makes it enjoyable.
Now, is there any like utility or like a roadmap or like that kind of thing for Sappy Seals? And also, do you happen to know, and if you don't, it's fine. Do you happen to know what the floor is right now? Like how much to get in ETH or
I
USD?
think the floor should be just a bit above one ETH. We did go up pretty high. Not pretty high. I mean, since I've been in, we went up recently on that run. I think we were up to like 1.7 something maybe, which was really good. Now we kind of bottomed out around one ETH. As far as the roadmap, I know they're working on a lot with a game. The Pixelverse is also them, which they talk a lot about. I don't own any Pixel Pets, but I need to. And they just,
What is the Pixelverse? That's I feel like I do know what that is, but you want to just rehash?
I haven't like fully. I don't know that I can say exactly what it is. I believe it's a game they're coming out with. So I keep seeing like renderings that they'll put out of the Pixel Pets, kind of playing in there, or screenshots. I know they're working on it, and from what they've said, that's kind of going to be their main thing. I think that's going to be like their biggest thing, and they seem to be really confident in the game and that it's going to be amazing, and it's not just another NFT game that's going to come out lazily. It'll be really good and people will enjoy it. I think they're just smart.
Have they mentioned what kind of game it's going to be? That's kind of to be unwrapped or
So
revealed.
on the screenshots that they post, it looks like it's a combat, kind of like Mortal Kombat, but with your pets. And I don't know if I'm saying this totally wrong, so I don't want to like say that I know exactly, but that's from what I've seen. But again,
Yeah, I mean, saying what you've
I'm
seen, yeah, that's
definitely
fine. I mean,
not a
no one's holding
pixel
uh,
verse.
financial advice, legal accountability here. It's just opinions. You're good. You're
Okay,
safe.
just making sure.
100%. No judgment here. Like, it's a totally open space, no rules. Just keep it positive and, don't hurt anybody and you're
Right.
good.
And I think just one more thing about Sappy Seals. It's the positivity. I'm pretty positive and like easygoing. I'd like to think semi funny person. And I think that those are all qualities that they kind of push in Sappy Seals. And when people get out of line, I've also seen, founders or people who work for Sappy Seals come to people's defense, and they're just good. In From what I know or what I've seen so far, they seem like good people that I would align with. So I think that's what really drew me in.
Yeah, and to hear you talking about it, you're just reinforcing that feeling of like, yeah, maybe I should have checked them out because the floor is a little high for me to get in right now. Um, but the way you're describing the project is the same way that I feel about the V Friends community and Gary V.
Totally.
I've been watching Gary V for like I think over 10 years now. I didn't get into V Friends when it first came out. I was a little bit skeptical about NFTs. That was a mistake, whatever. But now I'm in and it's just amazing to me. Like part of the reason I didn't get in is I've gone to like certain, I don't know, like business events and stuff in the city, and not everybody's kind, right? Like not everybody who goes to like an entrepreneurial or like motivational conference, like some of those people are a little cutthroat. Some of them are kind,
Totally.
like, I don't know. I felt like it was a mixed bag. And because I do have that kind of drive, and I don't know where it's gonna 100% go, explore a lot of things, but I go to networking events, but I didn't love like that community. Like, because too much of the people that I personally were bumping into, I don't know if it was who I was attracting, my energy at the time, whatever, but it like was these kind of like cutthroat people. And I wasn't like, I hadn't made it yet, and I didn't know who was fronting, who
Right,
wasn't.
right,
It felt a little fake. It felt very financial.
right.
Friends has everything I want about, because I want some of that. I want some of the
Of
hustle,
course.
some of the money, some of the grind. I want a decent
Right.
portion of that. But I don't want the, cocky, dickheaded, like ego-ness about it that sometimes or stereotypically comes with it. And when I found V Friends, that's literally exactly what that was. And it was stupid that I was scared that the Gary community would be no different than these other communities, I guess. But I didn't know, and I didn't know until I went to some Be Friends events, like I said, at NFT NYC, and that's when it really opened my eyes. Holy shit, this is my fucking fam,
Yeah,
yo. Let's fucking
totally,
go. These are
totally.
my fucking people, yo. Vibe is tribe, bro. Like, what the fuck, bro? We're all positive here. What is good? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? And like the podcast, a lot of the people on it are V Friends. Like, you find so many commonalities, and like even with different religions or philosophies, there's the same common core values of kindness and positivity. So I love
Totally.
that.
And what
Um,
you're saying, that
Go
the
ahead.
commonality, I think that for me, and I mentioned this to you, that I'm sober, off alcohol for coming on 7 years. So
Oh, funny. I was literally about to ask you to transition into that, and you brought it up
perfect.
yourself. I love it.
I
Goodbye.
was going to say just the commonality, like, I go to AA meetings, and especially I went to a lot when I first got sober. Like you walk in that room and everyone's the same. And it's kind of similar with NFTs. Like if you own a VFriend and I own a VFriend, we're on the same page. Like I get you, you get me, we're going to be nice to each other. It's really cool. It's community, and that's what I love about AA, and that's the only thing that kept me and got me sober was community. And this whole new sort of community on Twitter is this, it's a whole new world that I'm like equally addicted to. I love it.
Good. And I'm happy that you found that, and I'm happy you're addicted to Twitter, which doesn't have physical side effects for withdrawal. As
Not
far as
yet,
I know,
not
maybe,
yet.
maybe if the engineers for the social media apps get good enough, it will
I
have
think my
withdrawals, but
eyes
you know
might
what I
start
mean.
falling out of my head at some point, but aside from that,
Right. But and I know it's probably heavy, emotional. Do you mind going into your story about how you got from being starting off as a baby in life, and being sober up until a certain point? What point did you not become sober? How long did that last? Like
absolutely.
when did you become sober? And before you do that, let me just tell you, I don't know if it helps, doesn't help the audience, whatever. I just feel like I should say this. When I was in high school, I was addicted to prescription painkillers, Oxycontin, for a period of time. And I was not in an AA group. I did go to an outpatient rehab for a little bit. And eventually I did get off, Oxycontin.
That's amazing
So
because that's
just know,
not easy.
yeah, just no, it wasn't fucking
Oof.
easy. And yeah, because that does have
Oh
physical
yeah.
withdrawal. So even if you could mentally commit to like, okay, I don't want to do this, I'm gonna stop. Like your body is screaming for it.
Oh
You're
my
sweating.
god, yeah.
You're throwing up. It's pins and needles. It lasts for weeks. Fucking 2 months. I think my appetite was
Yeah,
still
and it's
affected.
just
So
easier to pick up, and yeah, every day it's easier to make the worst choice, but you didn't, and you're here, and look at you now. It's amazing. It's very easy to
right,
see the two paths between stop using and keep using. And I see it with people I grew up with, the ones who haven't stopped, and they're either died, and I'm only 33, and I already, people I went to high school with are already dying. It's wild.
I had people I went to high school with dying when I was in high school
It,
from this shit, overdosing on drugs. One of my friends, like they took him to a psych ward, and he fucking hung himself with
Jesus.
shoelaces in the psych ward when I was like 13, 14. Yeah, it was fucking nuts. I didn't hang around the best people with the best life. I was doing
Right,
drugs. So,
same.
that wasn't my whole town kind of thing. But anyway, the whole reason I bring this up is, you said, I forget exactly how you phrased it, but you expressed the message that when you go to these groups, everybody is kind of dealing with a similar issue. Everybody's on the same level. That's part of what you like about, the feeling of community, is that it levels the playing field. So just know, maybe our experience is different, For me, it was about a year or two of my life. For you, I think you said it was longer, but just know that like I've played on that
Yeah,
field too, and it's a
I'm
level
so
playing
happy
field kind
that
of thing.
you pulled out of it and that you're doing well and you have a new baby. I mean, what a life you've created, you know?
Yeah, thank you very much, and I appreciate that. And I'll give you the space if you want to tell us about your
Yeah,
journey.
so like I said, I'm 33. My 20s were mostly drinking heavily, heavily, heavily. I came to New York like 22, 23, I guess. Um, Drank way more. New York City is obviously an amazing playground for drugs and alcohol. So I quickly found myself deeper into drugs, cocaine, and then a few years later turned to heroin a bit. So it was just awful and takes you down really, really quick. And when I was 26, almost 27, I just had enough. I was, living alone in my apartment and I was calling out of work every other day and just so not manageable. So I finally started going to meetings and just immediately when you walked in, it's that community, the sense of community. You just feel safe. You feel like someone has your back. And again, I not to relate AA to NFTs, but same when you join a community, when you see someone who has the same profile picture as you, reach out to you and say, hey, I really love what you made, or hey, this is great. You just feel good. It feels like you know this person. It feels like you have support. I think also when I see people on Twitter kind of write sad stuff, like they're dealing with a lot, I take it personally and I really want to write back to them, even if I don't know them, because I know what that did for me in that time. Just being able to have somebody show up or call or text and check on you. And I think that's a really nice built in thing about that community. So I mean, not to go too deep into it, but my addiction, I'm 7 years now off alcohol. I do smoke pot. I don't know how that.
Congrats. I think that's totally fine. I do the same thing. I'm not quote unquote sober. I still, drink and smoke pot, but not Oxycontin. So to me, that's the win.
Exactly. So for me, the thing that was crushing me was alcohol kind of, it changes the way my mind thinks, right? So,
Yeah,
so
just say quick to the listeners too, just to clarify my position. When I say I'm, still doing alcohol, I never had an addiction to alcohol. That's not my, vice or my weakness, so to speak. I could have a few drinks and, not like whatever. So I'm in balance with that. So I'm not quote unquote sober, but I am in
right.
balance.
And I think that's so interesting. And I could have, a 10-hour conversation on the new the new ways of being sober, right? Like when I was going to AA religiously when I first got sober, I was off everything for about 2 years, like dead sober. And, it was like beat into my head that you cannot do anything. Even I'm on Prozac now. But at the time, people will tell you, like, no, you can't be on medication, you can't be on anything. And I needed something. I needed to not feel so strict in my life.
Wait, I'm sorry. What do you mean when you said people said you can't be on
Yeah,
medication?
so like a big part of AA is, and again, this depends on the people, and this is not everyone, but a lot of people in AA or NA will tell you, not to be on prescription pills, right? Because it's a medicine. It's something that
Even if they're not the controlled stuff. Like I know the controlled substances, that's obviously a gateway. Even like Prozac though, or like a Zoloft, that type of thing, they kind of advise
yeah,
against that.
definitely encouraged. And again, this is like my experience and the people that I met there, but definitely encouraged to, yeah, just kind of go stone cold sober, no help. I think the point is that they want you to get through life with no help, but there are some people like myself that Prozac just makes me a better version of myself because it takes away those little things that make me insecure. Like if I'm going to sweat when I'm talking to someone or start getting red, on my neck when I'm talking to someone and they can see I'm nervous. For me, that medication has taken that away, which has made me be able to be a more confident person and put myself out there more. So, I agree with it for me. I guess it's for every person. Um,
Yeah, let me just say for you real quick. I also agree with you. I'm currently, I'll admit this, I'm a Zoloft guy myself. I have no shame in, saying that
No
either.
shame. No, nor
Um,
should you.
I Right. And like I said, I went to some group therapy and they didn't really have that type of perspective. It wasn't AA. It was, a different facility. They had a different philosophy. I disagree with that personally. I think people should get therapy. I do agree that you should probably avoid the controlled substances. Like if they go to prescribe you like a Xanax
Totally,
or something
totally.
addictive, you could get right back into your addiction.
Absolutely.
Uh, but the non-habit forming stuff, the non-controlled substances, I get some idea, like, I don't not relate at all to where they're coming from. I get the purist kind of,
Right, right.
mindset, but hopefully you don't carry any shame. Hopefully their words didn't make you, carry a stigma with you taking medication. And, if it did, hopefully my words and my affirmation can help relieve that or relieve some of that
That's
for
so
you.
kind. And no, I feel great and I'm super confident now where I am. Even with the pot smoking, like I don't I definitely like to smoke every day. I can see how my addictive personality crosses over into that world. But does smoking pot ever make me be like, I gotta go get Coke? Like, no. So it's the worst thing weed has ever made me do is maybe like last night I ate a half a pint of cookie dough ice cream and some insomnia cookies. So,
Right. That's the worst side
right.
effects. That and taking that.
Exactly. So I'll take that over what used to happen to me with drinking and the drugs. It's a nice it's definitely something I look forward to. I'm happy that I can have it in my life. I'm happy that it hasn't caused anything bad and that I have a pretty good relationship with it right now. But yeah, I think for me, getting back into any of the hard stuff or drinking, just because drinking was so much of my addiction, they say ABC, alcohol becomes cocaine, and that was at
I've never heard that, but that's fun. See that. Full transparency, I've also done cocaine in that period of my life and all that type of stuff. Yeah, alcohol becomes cocaine. I That's true. I've never heard it. The truth of
It's
it.
so true. And now I'm so grateful that I got out of the game what I did because it's crazy now and it's so dangerous. It's not like when I was in college and you could just like everyone was trying drugs and whatever. Now it's like you try the wrong drug and that's it.
Well, yeah, now I think this is what you're speaking to. For whatever reason, they're lacing cocaine and other drugs with
Right.
fentanyl, which is, pretty fucking lethal. And I don't really get the logic. Like, as a drug dealer, like, why do you want to kill your clients
I
kind of
know.
thing?
It's
I
so
don't,
wild.
maybe they make more money somehow putting the fentanyl in than the people they lose that die from it, which is a very cruel, brutal system. But I guess that's the drug
Right.
world. But I don't know. It's confusing to me because I don't know. I don't even see, like, I don't
It's
know.
wild. It's a
I
wild
don't I
world
don't
we're
get
living in. But I'm grateful that part of my life, and of course, it's never over. It's an addiction. I'll have it forever. But I'm grateful that at this moment things are good. I've got weed. I've got Twitter. Life is a lot easier now. Also,
Yeah, and one thing too, I'll say, I'm also a weed smoker, and even my therapist knows that I smoke weed, and like she didn't have she wasn't like, all right, well, before I give you like a Zoloft, you got to get off the weed. You got to promise me you'll never smoke weed. I told her, yeah. She was like, oh, what other drugs do you use? I go, honestly, like, I smoke weed. I have a couple drinks here and there. Sometimes when I have a few drinks, if someone's smoking a cigarette, I'll take one, and that's kind of where I'm at. She goes, oh, that's fine.
yeah, everything in moderation,
So
just like food, right? Everything.
right. But the point is, like, even, the person who's prescribing me medicine didn't say, "Oh, that's a conflict." So, you know, I don't know if I'm just like over trying to like get rid of stigmas here because that's a passion of mine. And if you listen to other episodes, a topic, a lot of times we end up on is mental health because it tends to be a passion for a lot of people and for me too. So it just comes out. But I really just don't want people to have that stigma because I was one of those people for a long time. I didn't want help. I felt like it was me admitting like I was like weird or bad or something if I
Right.
got or and really it's like you kind of do have to admit like you have a problem, but it doesn't have to mean you're bad or like unredeemable, you know? Like it's the opposite. It's admitting you have a problem is what makes you redeemable. But get into this weird paradox mindset where you think, no, admitting a problem makes me unredeemable. So I can't admit I have a problem, and I'll pretend I don't have a problem, and I'll live forever with my problems. And that's better than
Exactly.
crazy, but that's
Exactly.
where people end up. So that's why, and so many fucking people end up there. I say it's crazy, but it's so fucking common. Happened to me,
So
happened,
common.
and I might think I'm a smart guy, so it's like not like it only happens to dumb people or this type of people. It's an emotional thing. If you're a human and you have emotions, it could happen. So do not feel bad if you're listening. People need help, and people deserve help. And just to kind of say something to addiction that I wanted to say, you know, in the groups and in talking about addiction and in my struggles in my life, there's a lot of philosophizing that I've done. I'm a very intellectual, philosophical person. And,
Right.
you're probably getting that. What is an
Yes.
addiction is something that I, have asked along the way because, counselors have said, oh, or some people, people have different perspectives. People say, well, you're still an addict. You just are addicted to like weed now.
Right. Right.
Okay. Like, what about people that get off drugs and become like a gym addict? Like,
Right. I think you
isn't that an
always
addiction too? Or is that an obsession? Or is that a passion? So, like, where is the line between like obsession, passion, and addiction? And the line for me is if it's creating like negative consequences in your life. So,
totally.
smoking weed, I don't have negative consequences in my life from that. I don't know. Maybe down the years, there could be, I guess, health, that type of thing. But
Yes. Yes.
and honestly, there's not a lot of records to show that just weed, if you're not doing it with tobacco or smoking it out of like a blunt or papers, if you like vape it or eat it, even eat it's the best way. It
Yep.
actually does not have like a lot of negative health side effects. To the contrary, it has a lot of positive benefits. So if you're even not smoking, you're eating it or vaping it, I don't think that's quote unquote an addiction. To me, it's just a passion or it's a hobby or it's something I enjoy doing. Because why stop doing something that doesn't have negative consequences?
Right. I enjoy doing it. It's something I look forward to. It's definitely a vice, and I'm happy to have one. I It's hard to life is hard, right? So it's like if we start cutting out and trying to be perfect, like you said, the person who stops drinking but starts going to the gym all the time, and then they go to the gym too much. It's like everyone is always gonna think that you're doing things too much or too wrong. We can't be perfect. We just have to do what feels right for us, and as long as you're kind of being nice to people and doing the right thing or what you think is the right thing most of the time, I think it's like it doesn't matter if you smoke weed all day every day.
Yeah, I'm a very results driven person. So if you have the result you want and you didn't hurt anybody in the process getting there, then whatever that looked like, I believe it's fine to me. That's how I think and see it.
Exactly. And I do think that Twitter and even NFTs in these communities are going to allow for more like evolved versions of Alcoholics Anonymous and these support groups, because I do think that we're getting to a place. I know a lot of people my age or younger here in New York City that are sober, but they smoke weed. It's like it's kind of this new way of living that I think drinking is becoming kind of uncool, which is funny to see because in my life it was everything. Um,
Yeah, that's really weird to me, and not weird in a bad way, weird in a good way, because
right.
it's a positive change. But I saw this article online about what you said, how it's actually becoming a trend. Like the new hip is not drinking. Like,
It's
like
crazy.
friends, oh, I don't drink. Oh, what are you, drinker? You're a loser. Like thinking
Yes.
a cool thing. And now there's like some bar I think that opened in the city that it's a full cocktail bar without alcohol for
Yes,
people.
in the East Village, I heard about it.
You heard about it, right? So that's the article that I saw. Yeah, I guess we probably saw some of the same influence. But yeah, it's really positive, but it's also like jarring. Like, when did this happen? How did this happen? But great that this fucking happened.
Right. And I think it goes along with this whole new world we're living in where like it's cool to be kind, it's cool to be sweet and nice, it's cool to say I love you to your friends, it's cool to say, how many times on Twitter I write I love you to like who the hell is this person? I have no idea, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I always
it
put that out.
it
That's one of my
feels good.
messages.
I like it when people say it to me like what are we trying to act cool for? Like I'm loving this new world of being a good person is in.
I mean, what are we trying to act cool for? I'll disagree with you there. I'm acting cool for cool's sake. I want to be the coolest motherfucker in town. But why is the definition of cool being an asshole? That's where I'm at.
Right.
To me,
Actually, yeah,
being
you're
cool
right.
is about being the friendliest motherfucker in town. Gary V is fucking cool, you know?
Gary Vee is so cool.
He's
I love him.
redefining cool. He's redefining the meta. Cool is positive. Cool is nice. Cool is kind warrior. Warrior is kindness. So I'm 100% about that.
Totally. And speaking of Gary Vee and the East Village, I heard that their new club is opening up around there.
Club? Tell me about this.
The Fly Fish Club.
Oh, the fly fish. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I got intel that they're well. You remember he put out, if anyone lives in the Lower East Side, let me know. So I did, obviously, because I do live in the Lower East Side, and they're I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming this is knowledge, but that they're opening up the Fly Fish Club or trying to in this area.
Do you have are you a member?
I'm not, but I'm like really hoping to somehow become a member. But the cheapest Fly Fish membership is like 4,000, right?
I haven't looked recently, but it was definitely over an ETH. I think it
Oh,
was a few ETH.
it was like last time I checked, it was over 3 ETH. And I just
Yeah, that would make,
Mama can't swing that today.
sorry, say it again.
I said I just can't swing 3 ETH today.
Yeah, and especially for like a restaurant pass, like to go
Right.
spend more money,
I
basically.
know, but like I'm a
I don't know the
member. Oh,
mechanics.
sorry.
It's not an all you could eat once you have it, obviously, right? It's literally just a pass to go buy dinner at this place, I
I,
think.
I would assume it's a just an access pass because like I'm a member of Soho House. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
So it's like a membership only club here in the city, and there's a couple locations. There's one in Meatpacking, and then there's Ludlow House, which is on my street that I live on in the Lower East Side. And you pay a yearly fee of around that same price, and basically you can go in whenever you want. You can eat there. You can just go there to work. It's this beautiful, massive clubhouse with, there's a restaurant inside. They have a bar, but there's also just couches and you can chill. You don't have to buy anything while you're in there. And I think that's probably what they'll go for. Kind of like a space that you can have access to if you're a member, and it
Right.
is
So it's a lot of
exclusive.
money to get a pass, to have the opportunity and option to spend a lot more money, kind of thing.
Exactly. Like I'll tell you, my girlfriend and I went to Soho House recently and we each got a salad. She got salmon on hers, I got grilled chicken on mine. I don't drink, so I got a nice coffee. I think she got a glass of wine, and our bill pre-tip was like $99. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. And this is something that I already pay, 5,000 for a year to have the membership. So
Right.
hopefully they make it a little better than that.
Do you know if they like have a guest pass thing? Like, I would want someone to bring me as their plus one. Is that even a thing, or it's literally a one and done like thing?
I would assume they would have to like and again I'm just going off Soho House's rules, but like I get 3 guests at any time, right? So I can bring in 3 friends, whatever, and that makes it worth it because we can all go to dinner there, or the meatpacking location has a rooftop pool, so you can bring guests and go to the pool. So I would assume they're gonna have you have to be able to have a guest, otherwise it's like what am I doing going to have dinner by myself at
Well, go
this.
have dinner, I guess, with other Fly Fish Club members. Like, but yeah, I don't know. To me, I agree. It makes more sense to have guests. I'm just not sure what the actual model is.
I
Let
would
me,
assume even a plus one.
yeah, I would say yeah, most likely, but we'll have to look it up at some point. But let me just switch gears a little bit here for a second. Let me just
Yeah.
go back into your personal journey. I don't want to get too far away from it, and it was a question that was on my mind.
Oh,
Uh,
no worries, please.
you don't have to go too deep into it if it's tough or you get choked up. I understand. I don't like to push people's boundaries on the show. Could you talk a little bit, if you're comfortable, about like why did you get into drugs? Like what were the challenges and struggles and life circumstances, that made you feel so much pain that you felt like alcohol was the only way to kind of numb it?
Totally. So I'm a lesbian. So when I was in college was when I first started kind of realizing that, and I was, dating girls secretly, and I just remember every time we went to a party, I'd be like, I gotta black out, and I'd do so much coke and drink so much to prepare myself for the inevitable question that I would get at parties, like, oh, are you and so together? Guys get drunk in college and start coming up and asking you weird shit. And it's just like, it's so wildly uncomfortable. And I was so uncomfortable with myself. Now living in New York City and being in my 30s, it seems almost silly that I was so uncomfortable. Because here it's like, and today it's like, I think there's more gay people in this city than straight people. But at the time, I went to school in Rhode Island and it was so uncomfortable. And I vividly remember being like, I need to black out to deal with this. So I think that's my very first memory of using alcohol as a tool to help me feel better. And it also runs in my family. So I was, predisposed to this. But yes, college was certainly where it started. And then I just never felt like I fit in. I always felt like an outcast, like I was hiding who I was. And I think being gay was that thing that I was trying to hide. Um, I came to the city and I just drank more and I did more drugs because I tried to convince myself more and more that, this was a phase and I'd get out of it and I'd fit in at some point. And then I never did, and I never did start wanting to be with men, and my attraction to women only got stronger. And I knew that this wasn't going to change no matter how much I drank or how much drugs I did. So I think that was a huge realization and one of the first meetings I went to, or someone told me this from AA, and they said, you need to start getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that was like the thing that really shifted something in my head, that it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not fit in with everyone in your family or that you think fits in like the right way. It's okay, because now if you asked me if I would change anything in my life, I often ask my girlfriend this, like, just as a joke, but I'm like, if you could be straight, like, would you? And both of our answers no, because going through all that has made me who I am today. And I also think getting comfortable being uncomfortable and living like that in my life has put me in a place where I'm not scared to talk to anyone. I can talk to anyone because, like, we're human beings. I know whatever I feel, this person's also likely feeling, or in one way or another. And I don't feel like I need to hide myself anymore. I'm very much an open book. There's nothing I don't really feel comfortable talking about, and even if it is a bit uncomfortable, I would still talk about it because it only makes it easier and better and more normal. And I would never want people to feel like it's the end of their world, if they don't fit in or at the time. Because now where I am, I feel so amazing. I feel like I have the best people in the world in my life. My girlfriend's wonderful. She's so supportive, and all of these things came from me choosing to accept who I am instead of, trying to drown it in alcohol for my whole life.
Can I ask you where the shame came from? I know you said a lot of it was from the attitudes in Rhode Island and people in college. Was any of that prior to that? Like it sounds like it was, if I'm hearing correctly. Like, was it coming from your family? Was it coming from, friends growing up? Was it coming from just like the way you pictured the media and society? Like, because it sounds, some people, like, depending on how they're raised, that are kind of like, I'm 31. I think you said you're 33. I've met people that are around my age that I'm surprised that are, um, homosexual or gay or however the right way is to say it. And they were brought up and their parents were totally cool with it and they never felt any of the shit that other people feel and they feel sorry that other people do. And I'm like amazed. I'm like, oh, that's like we're at that point. Like some people, not everybody, not the majority, some people though are just totally having a positive experience. I would imagine though, from the way you're telling the story, that wasn't your experience, or or maybe there's some other factor? I guess, do you want to just talk to that?
Yeah, so I think time is just a huge factor. I was probably 18 the first time I told my mother that I was dating a girl, and I had like done a bunch of blow, and I was at my house in Connecticut, and I made my mom get out of bed at 3 a.m. and I just cried and was like, I'm dating a girl, and she cried, and what she said to me was, I just don't want life to be harder for you. And I remember that vividly. And my parents are the best, so supportive. They're obsessed with my girlfriend. We have a great relationship, but at that time, and in I grew up in Connecticut in this like kind of farm town, and I didn't know any gay people. Anyone who was blatantly gay in my high school, I can think of one boy and one girl. They were like dating each other, like they were pretending to date. Like that's how much at that time we were trying to hide ourselves. Like
That happened. I said I, know different types of people. Some people were, out and accepted the whole time. I also know someone or a couple in high school where it was, yeah, a lesbian and a gay guy, and they were dating in high school just
yeah.
like their baby. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I understand.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, like, I think it was just the time and also where we live. Maybe if I grew up in New York City, it would have been way different. I don't know if it's just the time or the geography where I was, but I didn't know anyone. I didn't see anyone like that. I certainly didn't see lesbians that looked like, how I look, which is a bit more feminine. Any representation I saw of a lesbian on TV was like this, like really masculine, butch, like caricature of a lesbian. So I think I was just, it was always felt shameful. It always felt like the punchline, the funny, like I didn't want to be different. I remember just thinking like I
So it's
just
just to clarify, it's not coming from your parents. So
no, no.
so the idea that you're going to be different, it came from the community then, because you're
Yeah,
saying you're in a community, you didn't see a lot of gay role models, and it sounds like to the contrary, you saw a lot of other more negative things in your community in regards to commentary about gay people. People were like maybe saying the word fag or whatever, that kind of
exactly. Yeah.
thing, or
And
making gay jokes, and they didn't know you were gay or maybe
right,
gay. So
right.
you were just in and hearing all of it, and you're like, oh, this is how they'll talk about me if I was like this.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm
And
sorry you had that
I
experience.
had someone tell me, a friend of mine that I went to high school with, who I'm still close with, and she's like the only person that I went to high school with that I still talk to. And she was like, told me that someone, this was like 2 years ago, referred to me as, oh, Michelle the lesbian. And I just remember being like so annoyed because it's like it brought me right back to that place of like, you don't like, I don't know if you've ever been pigeonholed or ashamed of something about yourself, but it's like your biggest fear for someone to like think of you as that. I want people to think of me as Michelle the billionaire, right? So I think that's why I'm trying so hard to get to a place where like something I accomplish will outshine that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, a hundred
like
percent.
you're fighting every day to be known for something besides what you feel you're known for. And I've always had that feeling since I realized I was gay, and I think I still have that feeling a bit. And I mean, even to bring it back to crypto Twitter, like I being known for making funny memes is such a wonderful feeling. You know what I mean? Like I just want to be known for other things that I accomplish and not like who I am, right?
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to have a label. That's not one that you picked. You might
Right.
not want to have a label at all. You'd really rather just have a list of accomplishments, and it's not like some like one word, kind of like sign off or write off of you. And oh yeah, she's Michelle the lesbian. She's Michelle,
Right, right.
the
And it
black. She's
kills
Michelle
me.
the woman. Or when people say
Exactly.
like, oh, like the first woman this, or a
Right.
woman that. It's like, why do you have to say woman? And it's like some women actually like that. So I don't want to take that away from them, the celebration. But
Totally.
my perspective is no, it's a person. Like, I get that you're celebrating women, women pride, women power. But do you see that by like some part of like this, like keep saying women, 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 you're separating it. Just the most successful doctor, and her name's Michelle.
Right, right.
It's like, like what does gender matter? And especially
Exactly.
today with like gender kind of disappearing, or the definitions of man and what, like, it matters even less. So it's like, hopefully you feel, and you said you do, but hopefully you feel more comfortable in the world today. And you know that you're accepted, and there's people like me in the V Friends community that have no fucking problem if you're gay. I don't give a fuck. My line is like, goodness, bad, like, do you have bad intent? Are you hurting people? Like,
Right, right.
are you here to help me grow? Are you here to take away from me? Otherwise, if you're not hurting me, do whatever the fuck you want. And if you're not hurting innocent people, other people, like, whatever the fuck you want. I don't understand.
Exactly.
I don't understand the lack of that mindset. To me, it's
It's
such an
wild.
obvious thing. And for me, since it's obvious, it's like, I can't explain why it's so obvious because it's so innate. But it being obvious to me jars, blows my mind why some people feel the need to spend their whole lives making sure other people that they've maybe never met and never will meet don't do certain things. Like, what? Like,
Right,
what
right.
the fuck? Like, what? Why is that worth your time and energy? Why don't you have a hobby? Why don't you like make pottery? Why isn't there anything else you want to do? How is this the fucking thing that is worth your life, the time of your life, times of resource you'll never get back? You want to spend it fucking with other people you don't even know? Like,
Right, right.
what the fuck?
With me, I've got nothing. Like there's no reason to come at me, you know? It's these there's just people in this world that are unhappy, but I think it's so nice, like this conversation you and I had today. It's like, who would have thought that we'd be sitting on the phone having this beautiful conversation about addiction and acceptance and NFTs? It's such a wild world that's opening up to us, and I'm so excited about it.
Me too. Now, I always, or frequently, or I think always, just feel like I want to keep these going for forever. However, I do have another guest coming on after you today. Very lucky to have two in one day. Trying to get as many
Amazing.
episodes out as possible, and I'm on paternity leave right now, so I'm optimizing the time.
Yes, crush
I
it.
would probably rather take a nap half the time when my wife goes out to see her mom and I have a break from the baby. Take a nap, but I'm out here fucking grinding.
Of
Speaking of
course.
grinding, though, I always end the show with a self promotion spotlight for our guests. Usually, we leave that for about 5 to 10 minutes. So, if you do have anything that you're working on, that you're selling, we didn't talk about career a lot, but if you're doing something with a career, I feel like at one point you mentioned you were in real estate. I don't know if I imagined that, but if you want to give info out for that, or if I made that up, then whatever it actually is, do you have anything you want to spotlight yourself on?
I think right now I do real estate in the city, and the reason I'm so kind of like on Twitter and memeing right now so heavy is because my team is very big in rentals, and so summer is our super busy season. So winter, I'm basically, doing nothing, smoking pot, and so I've been really enjoying this crypto Twitter and just making memes and animations. I hope to continue doing that. I hope it makes people happy, makes people laugh, it makes me laugh. That's
If
really all.
if people are looking in New York, I'm in New York. I don't know how many of my listeners or guests also are, but some portion definitely are, and probably a larger portion compared to other areas. So that's where I'm networking and meeting people and at events and stuff like that. Should we
Yeah,
tell people, the listeners, like, DM Michelle, DM
please, yeah.
Cowboy, if you're looking
DM
to buy or sell in New York?
if you're looking to buy, sell, rent in New York or Brooklyn, please DM me. I work for Corcoran. We're the best.
What is it called?
Corcoran, you know Barbara Corcoran.
The name is it Shark Tank?
She used to be on Shark Tank, right? So
Yep, there
she
you go.
started. Actually, her story is amazing. She started Corcoran. She's since sold the company, so she's not involved in it anymore. But I believe it's the biggest, either biggest or top one, two, three in the world, as far as firms, real estate firms. So she's incredible, Barbara Corcoran.
So apparently you're not just seal, you're also a shark.
I'm also a shark, and yeah, I guess and I'm looking to hopefully soon be a penguin as well.
And those are way more expensive, right? I think it's like 7 ETH or
Oh,
something to floor on those.
yes, and I have lil pudgies. Have you looked at those?
I didn't even know that was a thing. I actually, but when you said it, I was like, oh, is that what the smaller ones are? Like, I feel like I've
Yeah,
seen.
yeah, that's the
I didn't know.
smaller ones, and those are at like a point 0.5 floor, so they're a bit more manageable.
Yeah, that's not insane. And yeah, that's another really positive project.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm loving the communities I'm involved in right now. It's and V friends as well.
Yeah, shout out to these communities. And yeah, listeners, if you have any questions about these types of communities, feel free to, DM me if you want to get involved in NFTs or, anything I'm in, VFriends, Seals. I would imagine Michelle would probably welcome you to the community. So
Please.
there you go. Not just real estate, DM her. If you need any help with anything, I'll also say if you listen to this, and Michelle, you could say yes or no if you want to put this out. But for me, it's a definite yes. Reach out to me. I have been in counseling, I think, since I was 3 years old. Sometimes I talk to people and they are like based on the questions I'm asking, if I try to help someone, they're like, "Are you a counselor? Were you ever a therapist? You ever do something like that?" I'm like, "No."
Hello.
You can still hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yes, now I can.
I said, no, I've just been in therapy since I was literally fucking 3 years old. And
Yeah.
like growing up, like from three onwards with therapists, like constantly fucking training your brain and asking you how you like my brain like grew up in a therapy mindset. So like
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
good.
natural to me to ask myself, well, when was the first time I felt that? Like was there an early
Right. And
memory
check
in
in.
your life when that first came up? Like how did you feel then? Do you feel there's a connection between, any earlier childhood memories? Oh, that relationship that you have. Have you ever had that relationship dynamic with somebody else in your life, maybe a family member or some other, romantic relationship or a close friend? And so if you I'm not a therapist, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I do have a lot of the tools that therapists have given me over the years. I've saved them, I fucking downloaded them, I right click and I fucking save that shit. So I have a lot of that value. And if you're struggling with drugs, or mental health or anything like that, and maybe therapy, I recommend therapy, but maybe that's too big of a step for you. You just want to talk to a quote unquote like regular person. I'm a weirdo. I'm not a regular person, but I think I meet that definition enough for this context. So definitely please reach out to me. I'll help you find a therapist. I could talk to you about meditation, breathing techniques, mindset, all these other things to help calm you down and be positive and get off the drugs and find the right resources. Michelle, do you feel comfortable saying DMU too, or rather not, have that kind of open door for that type of heaviness, which I totally understand and you don't have to say yes.
Absolutely. My door is always open. I love talking about this. I think it's the only thing that gets us through life is connections with people, and we all need help, and just if anyone wants to talk, I'm here.
Awesome. So we're both here. We're both people, as you've heard, nobody's perfect. We're still growing as people. We still both have flaws. We're in therapy. We're taking medicine, but we're healing. We're getting better. We're balanced. We're happy. We're thriving. And we could maybe help you to do the same. So please reach out if you need the help. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and close out here. I just want to thank the all the listeners. Either if you're in the space right now, Thomas Mortesh, really appreciate you. Also another guest, but really appreciate you for coming in to listen to the episode. Also, we do get a bunch of replays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. So anyone listening to the replay of this later, thank you also for your time. Thank you for listening through to the podcast. Thank you for staying to the end. Michelle, thank you for your time. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. I love it when
Of
people,
course.
kind of open up and have these vulnerable moments. And, it's like you said, it's not everybody expects this. You said who would expect it? I kind of laughed. I was like, I don't know, I can't, maybe me to some extent because it's like this is my like 26th, I think, episode 27. So it's like I'm starting to get a feel for it, and it's this magic that kind of happening. So it's like it doesn't happen every time. Not everyone has like a traumatic moment that they're ready to share, but a lot of people do.
Right, right.
And I love that, and I love the value of that. And I thank you because it's not always easy. And it's often difficult, and it takes power, it takes strength, and you not only have that power and strength, but you're willing to show people that you do and be a positive role model and ask people to, message you if they need support and lean on you a little bit, or, you direct them. So thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you for sticking to positivity. Thank you for never giving up. Thank you for not giving into the stigmas. Thank you for always finding help. Thank you for spending this hour with us here today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Ian. That was so, so nice. I had such a good talk. This was awesome.
Yeah, me too. I always
I'm
say
so appreciative.
like if it wasn't like a thing where you notice the listeners drop off after an hour on the replays, like I would probably go 2 hours, but it's like people don't listen, so there's that part of it. But yeah, Beautiful, beautiful episode, beautiful podcast. And we always close out with the same message. And I know you're going to like this message. It's a message from my friend Afakasi Brand. Real quick, do you happen to know who that is?
I don't, but please tell me the message.
Afakasi Brand, feel free to check him out on Twitter. Just another V friend from the community. Really positive person, guy who kind of
Awesome.
inspired me to get into doing my own podcast and talking on Twitter Spaces. I used to go all the time into his space, the barber shop, and chat in there for hours and find my voice and get comfortable and kind of figure out like what I wanted to do and how to manifest my desires. His message is, if you haven't heard it today, you are loved. He taught me to say that. It's something I love. So I always give the shout out back to him for sharing the positivity if anyone wants to check him out. But the universe, as we've said, there's light in the universe, there's dark, there's hate, but there's also love. And my belief is that if you believe in a God and you believe that God is source and some sort of oneness and it's all one energy, what is that energy? The way I conceptualize it is that energy is love. Love is the energy and the force that creates everything in the universe. And not only are you loved, but you literally are loved. You are made of pure love energy. And that's it. If you haven't heard it today, you are loved.